Today we're speaking to Adrian, who used to be a PT and now he's gone into e-recycling. He's gone from stripping fat to stripping computers. He's doing around £4,000 a month. So we're at the early stages of this business and he wants to grow it. Let's find out how he can do it. Well, gang, welcome back to the Business Broadcast, the podcast designed to help grow your business. I'm James Sinclair. Follow me on Instagram at James Sinclair Entrepreneur. And if you want to follow James Burt, the co-host of this show, where do you need to go?
Just go to James Burt Official.
There we
Burt
go.
with 2 T's.
There we go. Are people following you on Instagram because of this show now?
Yes.
Yeah. They're finding you.
Yep, and they're just slagging me off. Anything official.
Good.
Like, are you at the gym? Is it official that you're at the gym? I'm like, yeah, very good. I'm getting it on LinkedIn. I'm getting it on Insta. I'm getting it everywhere. Hey, very exciting today on the podcast because we've got one of our entrepreneurs, as we always have, but we've also got a special guest before. We've actually got two entrepreneurs on today's pod.
Completely separate, not associated.
No, that's it.
Now, we've had a lot of young people reach out to us on my socials saying, James, I've got some questions. You know, I'm a bit confused. I'm at a crossroads. And we don't think it's right to put them on their own podcast show because that's not what this is about.
Bit too much pressure.
Yeah, we're established businesses that, you know, need a little bit of direction on where to go to be even more established, I suppose, or even more profitable. But when you're at the beginning of your journey, you know, when you had spots and stuff like that, like you've got now.
This is online bullying. I could take you to court.
You're just such an oxymoron because you got the granddad outfit with the teenager skin. And so I think we've got a guest today. What's our guest that's coming on with the chat? Ollie, isn't it?
Ollie, yes.
Yeah. But the main guest, the podcast is all about, is a guy called Adrian.
Adrian. Just found out. Yeah,
sorry,
Adrian from Brackley Recycling.
Tell us about it, JP.
So Brackley Recycling has been going for just under 2 years. They are doing an estimated... I can't talk after lunch. No. It always kills me off what a wonderful lunch it was like. Estimated monthly revenue of $2,000, 2 team members. Biggest challenge is scaling the business that has got the potential to grow with no external funding. Challenge number 2, effectively managing time whilst prioritizing cash flow. And challenge number 3, knowing whether to take on external funding. He wants to, in 1 year's time, be doing $100,000 a year with a team in place and moving into a bigger premises. When the business is finished, he said it looks like it will be fully established in his area with a solid management team in place and ready to sell. He's making 20% gross of the turnover in terms of profitability, which he said is the profit that he wants to make. And day to day in the business, he is prioritizing cash flow based tasks, marketing, and then processing materials. So another small business. So we're going to got a couple of interesting conversations to have today on the pod. But before that, we have got Ollie. Now, Ollie is just 24 years old. God, that seems like a long time ago for me now. And Ollie emailed in to you. Shall I read the email out and then we can get some of... Read it. Yeah, so Ollie emailed in. He said, "Hi, James. My name is Ollie. I'm a 24-year-old male living down in the Southwest. Your videos on YouTube have really inspired me. I live with my parents and I drive them mad playing your videos constantly in our living room area." That is brilliant. I am writing to you as I'm looking for some helpful tips as to where to start with business right from scratch. I've watched many of your videos and I've already wrote down many of your tips on operating. I'm just wondering on best tips for how to take that first step. I'll provide you some background info to my lifestyle. I'm a 24-year-old working in a pharmaceutical company in the Southwest. I'm in a managerial position in the production area. I earn approximately £35,000, excluding overtime. That's a lot of dough for a 24-year-old, isn't it? 35 grand. Happy days. I work 35 hours a week, Monday to Friday, when I'm not doing any overtime. Why I want to become an entrepreneur. I love the idea of being my own boss and making a difference to individuals and the economy. I love the idea of the freedom that comes from being your own boss. I love the prospect of unlocking unlimited income potential with the business that I run. I want to become financially free and not have to rely on a company that may get rid of me at some point. I want to enjoy life and be flexible, and I want to travel and spend time with my girlfriend. And I understand being an entrepreneur takes up a lot of time, but I'm happy with this. And most of all, ever since I've been a kid, I've always wanted to be a business owner, and I love the innovation side of things, creating efficiency and investing for additional revenue and making business more sellable. I'm currently writing this email in my car that is parked in front of a lovely McLaren that everyone who is walking past by is stopping to take pictures of. And that gave me even more inspiration, the spur that I need to write this email to you. I hope you're able to to take the time out of your busy schedule to reply to this email. So we don't know what Ollie's skill set is. We don't know. We know he's hungry for something. We just don't know what the something is.
Get him on.
Should we find out? Hey, Ollie, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. How are you two?
We are very well, thank you.
Hello, Ollie. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good.
So you're 24 years old. You're making
Correct.
35 grand a year in for a pharmaceutical company, but you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You've sort of told us about the sort of the why you want to be an entrepreneur. Have you got a specific area that you're thinking of with regards to a business that you might want to create?
I mean, for myself, it probably would be the manufacturing side based off experience. But what I really wanted to do was sort of start off in commercial property, because I really like the idea that James provides in his videos, where he starts off in commercial property and then sort of use that cash flow to sort of fund his businesses. And for me, from the risk element, that would be really useful, just sort of finding a consistent cash flow and then sort of expanding and going to become a business owner.
Well, you might have got that slightly wrong. Yes, I do use that now, Ollie.
Yeah.
But it was business first and property second. You can't start with property and then use the property to get I suppose you could. But that I
Very
did.
hard though, isn't it?
Very hard, yeah. So you use your business's profits to buy commercial property, or that's what I do. And then the commercial property then becomes more of an asset, more of a security base to then go and buy and do other business. But it's certainly, my big rule is business first, property second. You need to get a cash flowing business, your fast pounds. You then put 50% of your profits into commercial property. That's what I do. And that's how I've lived my life. So no, it didn't start with commercial property. It was very much business first.
Okay.
I mean, I get your point though. You want the safety blanket of the commercial property, and it's absolutely my safety blanket. That's what I love about it. But I've only got it because I've built a commercially profitable enterprise that generates profits, that allows for the deposits for commercial property. And really, my first commercial property was the one that I traded out of. So if you've got a trading business that trades out of a commercial property you own, that to me is the winner chicken dinner moment.
Yeah. Well, so what type
Sorry,
of...
I feel like I've burst your bubble there.
No, that's okay.
Thanks for coming on, young entrepreneur, Ollie.
What I was going to ask, I've got a couple questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So, some of them are related to the business and some of them are also related to commercial. Is that okay if I sort of ask both?
Go.
So I guess I'll start with the business first. So what is your sort of favourite business industry to buy, especially if you were to wind back the clock and buy your first business?
I think a better question to ask is, what is my favourite models? We speak about this all the time now, JB, because, look, I love ice cream. I love Rossi Ice Cream. I wouldn't necessarily advise people to go and be a food entrepreneur as their first rodeo. It's incredibly tough.
Thanks, Chance.
And so thank you, Chance. I like businesses that have predictable revenue, that are love, want and need businesses, where people love what you do, they want what you do and they need what you do, that are recession proof, that have margin, that have sticky customers, where people buy from you in 4 times in quick succession. So I'm going to try and use examples that are outside of things that I own to really, so waste would be one of those. Commercial waste would definitely be one of those. People, we've seen this in Birmingham City Council recently. If people's rubbish are not being taken away, they really get the ump about it.
Yeah, you have anarchy.
Even it's up there with paying your staff. You're going to make sure your rubbish gets removed. I think it's completely recession proof. So waste is a great one. Anything around healthcare. I mean, I think if you're a dentist, no matter what happens, if people have got toothache or problem with their teeth, they're going to find the money to sort it out. If they're ill, they're going to find the money to sort it out. So there's 3 examples there. I like my food services business, Cafe Deli Wholesale, because we've got customers that book with us 2 or 3 times a week. The average order value is good. It's repeatable, predictable business. We know the margins. And it's a great business that you can scale. And then crucially, when you're looking at what makes a great business model, thinking about exit value, who wants to buy your business should you want to exit the business? And we all exit our business, whether by death or by design. And really, we're entrepreneurs and we want to do it by design. And for me, you want to build a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you in it, and we should be building our business to sell, even if we have no intention of selling it. That's a really good habit, a really good philosophy and mindset to have in business. But actually what really comes after that, the next sentence is, well, who is my buyer? Now, you might not necessarily know your buyer, but I don't know, maybe if I built a waste company, I'd say Viola. I'm going to build my business so good that Viola are going to buy it. I'm going to build my my food services business so good that Cisco, the world's biggest food services business, will want to buy my business. And that's even if you have no intention of selling it, because these are the disciplines you put on yourself to make sure you build better things. Does that answer the question, Ollie? It's about models.
Yeah, no, that's great. I always, when I've been watching your videos, I've noticed a few times in your videos you have mentioned about the intention to sell, even if not. And I think that's a really good tip. That's been helpful for myself that's been watching. So I'll go into a commercial property question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So I guess really I've been looking online and things like that as well at commercials and things like that, and I quite often see, say, vacant commercials that say, "Oh, we can offer this amount of rent, on the market. That's roughly what it would be." What sort of tips would you have to turn sort of vacant commercials into ones that would have sort of reliable tenants with long leases and the sort of steady, safe things that people always aspire to?
For me, that's noisy at the moment. But if you're an entrepreneur, focus on buying a commercial property that you can trade out of. So if you're going to buy commercial property for investment, which I do, hands up, I'm James Sinclair. I own lots of commercial property that I rent out. That is not going to be my first rodeo. No way. For a number of reasons. You need massive deposits to buy commercial property for investment. And all the people I know, including myself, that have commercial property portfolios, they have a trading business within their ecosystem. So let's think about an example. So
just have a bigger deposit if it's for investment.
Absolutely.
Do you?
A much smaller deposit if you're trading.
If you're trading from it, okay.
In sometimes, in many cases, I've managed to buy things with no deposit because you're trading from it.
Right.
So the banks see it as much less risky if you're trading from it.
Fine.
You have lower interest rates because, for example, you've got £1 million business. It's making £200,000 a year profit. We're just making these numbers up. And you've got a mortgage of £50,000 to service the commercial property that you own. There's £200,000 worth of profit fat in there.
Yeah.
So if the business loses 10% of its turnover, there's still enough. Now, as soon as you turn it into an investment, you've only got the rent.
Yeah.
So that's more risk for the bank.
Yeah.
So they'll say, well, okay, we're prepared to still lend you the money, but we want a bigger deposit.
What sort of loan to value do they do on investment?
40.
Is it really
40% loan
wow,
to value?
okay.
This is the high street banks. There'd be some challenger lenders, your Shawbrooks, your Aldermores that might say only 25%.
Okay.
But you'd be paying a much higher interest rate.
Right.
So if you want a fair interest rate, a Handelsbank and a Coutts and NatWest, a HSBC for investment stuff, they want much higher deposits. Yes, commercial property is so much better if you can, I don't know, if you're doing distribution, say you're a distribution business, Ollie, and you're manufacturing stuff in the Far East and you're selling it wholesale here in the UK, and you buy a 5,000 square foot warehouse. You go to the bank, say, look, this is everything going here, I'm trading from it. And they go, okay, we want a 20% deposit. And they might say, we'll lend you the 20% over 5 years and term the rest out at 20 years. Then you've got your 5,000 square foot building. You're on the first run of the ladder. You're running that business for 18 months. You've exhausted the 5,000 square foot. You now need a 15,000 square foot building. You go back to the bank and say, hello, Mr. Bank Manager. I now need a 15,000 square foot building. You lent me the money to buy the 5,000 one. What I'd really like to do is rent that one out. I don't want to sell it. Can you now lend me some more money to buy the 15,000 square foot one? So now you're operating from the trading from the 15,000 square foot one and renting out the 5,000 square foot one as an investment, and that's a much safer way to do it, and that's how I've done it. So I've bought property, traded it, then rented it out.
Gotcha.
That's the hack.
Does that answer your question, Ollie?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's sort of changed my mindset as well.
Yeah, Ollie,
I'll be honest.
forget you're 24 years old. You know you want to do commercial property. Hoorah for you. Most 24-year-olds wouldn't even know what that means. At least you know what that means, which is great. I mean, you're way ahead of the pack by just knowing that that's what you want to have. But really, focus on building a commercially profitable enterprise, a trading business first, because then that will give you all your dreams in commercial property.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, that has changed my mindset. Like you say, I can now approach it like that, as opposed so use it as a tool for your business rather than the primary focus.
If you want to be a really good investor into commercial property, having a few years of trading businesses behind you is going to make you a much better commercial property landlord.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of people out there that, you know, inherit money and then they start investing it, but they don't really know about the nuts and bolts of, you know, business. And once you know the nuts and bolts of business, your commercial property decisions in terms of buying decisions will be 10 times better.
Lovely. No, great. Thank you very much.
The real question that you really want to work out is, what is the business that you want to trade and do, and make sure it's the correct model that allows you to buy lots of commercial property. Business first, property second.
Lovely.
Good stuff. Any other questions, Ollie?
To be honest, they were more sort of down the commercial, but I think based off the answers given, I think it's a lot better that I sort of maybe go away and have some business sort of ideas as opposed to, like you say, the ones related to commercial as such.
Yeah. Ollie, what does your girlfriend do?
Oh, she works at an optician's actually.
Well, that's great. But why don't you start an optician's business? That's a good model. Oh, I like them. And then you can start owning loads of commercial property around them.
True. And there's towns near us as well that are called sort of God's waiting room and all sorts.
Yeah, Well, I mean, we've had a few opticians on the show, on the podcast. Go back and listen to those episodes.
Okay.
With your girlfriend, you know, what a date night that is. Right, darling.
She hates hearing this stuff. That's the problem. It'd be hard to convince her.
I mean, seriously, I like those businesses. That's a very good model. If you can get that in a right location, right town, you know, some of them optometrists, that's what they are?
Optometrists.
Optometrists, you know, good business model. Certainly now, as a glasses wearer, you know, just keep buying them, don't you?
Yeah.
So James, in relation to that then, so just talking about skills, so also you mentioned like healthcare, you mentioned waste management.
I put them in that. You know, you are going to find the money to have glasses or your eyes tested if you can't see properly.
And in terms of, you know, I guess that actually does sort of create a question for myself. How do you sort of recruit that skill? Because as you probably know, I don't have any qualification. Sorry?
Ask her when she gets in tonight. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but you come on, Ollie. You're a bright spark. You'll work that out. I mean, I can't give
or
you
go work in a business for a year.
Or buy one, true. You know. You're asking, is she entrepreneurially driven, Mrs. Ollie, or is she?
Oh, they're only boyfriend and girlfriend. He's 24 years old. Don't wife him off yet. He's off, Sinclair. He's not old like us.
She has definitely got the quality. She isn't as much as me. I'm sure she would.
Well, you can just employ her then, and she can be your first member of staff.
True. Oh, good God!
That's a good tip.
Yeah. There you go. Good stuff. Ollie, look, we wish you lots of love on your journey. Once you've actually get trading and open, make sure you come back on the pod. We'd love to have a chat with you.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Let's have the exciting bed music as we get ready for the next section.
He, ladies and gents, gives me faith in the future of our country. I mean, it just sounds great, doesn't he?
He does.
He is going to succeed. He's got it, isn't he?
24 years old and talk about commercial property.
Yeah, great.
You were probably like that at 24 though, weren't you? That is not most 24-year-olds.
I was definitely thinking more businessy than... I remember having a conversation with Ian Douglas, my bank manager from Lloyd's, just saying to him, why can't I buy the building that Partyman operated out of? It's like 1.5 million. said, well, I haven't got the deposit. Just lend me the 1.5 million. It just doesn't work like that. Why?
The naivety
That's
of
what I
youth,
want.
though, yeah.
That's what I want. I'm paying 110 grand a year in rent. I can just give you that in
mortgage.
In mortgage. No, I don't know. I mean, now I've got a bit more bullshit with these banks, and I've got obviously lots of equity in the other properties. And I just, when they ask for deposits, I go, shut up. Shut up.
We just don't put it down anymore.
Well, no, because like this, like there'd be hundreds of thousands of equity.
Yeah.
They actually say to me, so you want me to go up to credit and say you want to buy this for 2 million quid and you don't want to put a deposit in? Yeah, that's about the measure of it. That's exactly what I want you to do.
Or I'm going to go and shop elsewhere.
But credit will go, well, why can't he put a deposit in? Because he wants to keep the cash to go and buy other businesses or, stock or do anything. Well, why don't he just calm down on that for a year so he can give us a deposit? Because I don't want to. I don't want to. Let me have what I want.
Like a petulant little brat.
It just really frustrates me,
I guess it makes sense though, doesn't it? Because like I say, that's money.
What really annoys me is when I find out big banks, all the banks that our listeners or viewers will bank with or I bank with, all of them, lend money to venture capitalists and private equity, doing all this fandango stuff. Lend it to the entrepreneur directly.
Yeah.
I'm going to start running this country. And
I was about to say, this is why we need James Sinclair for Chancellor of the Exchequer.
We don't do politics or religion on here.
We often do.
We had, at the time of recording, what day is it today?
6th of May, yeah.
6th of May, we had a seismic big election thing.
We did.
On the 1st of May, wasn't it? 2nd of May, something like that.
The local by-elections, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the disruptors, mentioning no names, have disrupted.
Yeah.
Taking
They're
votes.
trying to reform a few bits.
Yeah. Trying to reform a few bits. They've taken votes from Labour
and Conservatives
in equal measure.
Off the back of those by-elections, Reform are actually the majority opposition party now.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what, though? There's a big message here for business owners. I call this the blockbuster business thing. Blockbuster really saw the Reform Netflix over there and just ignored them.
Yes.
And just went, no, they're never going to steal our thunder. If you think of Blockbuster as the Conservatives, as Labour, you've got these, and the Greens. The Greens are doing very well as well. Yeah. The Lib Dems are doing very well as well. They're both stealing market share. And if you stick too much to the status quo, because the marketplace is always innovating, and I think, if you're into the environment, obviously you're going to love the Green Party. If the Lib Dems are doing some stuff, and then Reform are doing some stuff that is based on innovation, whether you like it or not. That's not the point. Because the comfort, the status quo, the blockbuster approach to business
isn't always going to be the safe thing to do.
So, remember that, gang. If you don't innovate, you evaporate.
Yeah, very true. In politics and in business and life. Right.
Hey, I've got one more quick thing on this.
Go on then.
So I met a prominent MP the other week.
Okay.
And talking about figureheads of businesses.
No,
I'm not going to say it.
I'm terrible.
No. And they were saying, and this was someone in the Conservative Party, and that I said, look, do you think we have got, or they have got, the leader that could get them to be an election winner? They've got Kemi at the moment, who seemed to me as a very good manager of business or manager of things, but not so much the leadership qualities.
Yeah.
And this prominent MP within the Conservative Party that I actually met them in Westminster. I was in Westminster.
Oh, very fancy.
I'm not going to say why I was meeting them, but I was meeting them. Well,
James Sinclair, the Prime Minister.
For the plight for business owners. And they said something that was, I said, do you think Kemi's got the je ne sais quoi?
The X Factor.
The X Factor that's, I'm afraid, needed in politics. Whether you like that or not, it's absolutely...
look at America and look at here.
Yeah, absolutely. And this prominent Conservative MP said, well, we haven't exactly got Mick Jagger in the corner that we haven't brought out yet. And I thought that was very true.
Yeah.
I don't think they have.
No. Because it's become too unpopular to be that side of blue, isn't it?
I think there's only 120 MPs in the Conservatives now.
Yeah. Yeah, that by-election was very, very telling. Very telling.
Yep. We're all fed up of high taxes and miserable services.
Yeah.
We're paying more than ever and getting less than ever.
If going back to the business lessons, if we were running this country like a business, you wouldn't have any customers.
Oh, it's just
because the exodus of customers or
I had
followers of your political party is redonkulous.
I mean, I've spoken about this on the pod, like what China do. I mean, China is not a democracy. It's really it's like a dictatorship, really.
Well, it's communism, isn't it? Still.
Yeah, but it's not communism.
Soft communism.
It's not like Russian communism. It's a very entrepreneurial place. Like everyone likes making money. But yes, there's elements of that. There's no two ways about it.
Do you know that when you're there?
No, not
Can you
at all.
sense that?
No, I just see happy people that
really
they're getting on. I mean, I'm not there enough. You'd have to live there, wouldn't you, to really understand the nuances. Yeah. But from what I see, I don't see that. I'm not living there, so I don't know the nuances. But I am always amazed at what they do to grow their economy. Because, really, when you think about what they've done in my lifetime, basically 3-4 decades, your lifetime, it is quite unbelievable. If there's an area that needs employment, the government say, we'll pay all your electric, we'll pay all your rent for your factory, we'll subsidise it, you get going in
Start
3
making,
years.
Yeah.
So they go, that location over there, we talk about the north-south divide, don't we, in the UK?
Yeah.
The south has all the money and the north, and then we've said it. Every politician, whether they be red or blue or any other colour, have been saying this for years and years and years, but actually it's just been sound bites. Well, in China, no. They actually put policy in place. You go and do a trade show. I've said this on the pod before.
Yes,
but for new listeners, the government say we'll pay half your stand fee because you're going to grow our local economy. If you export, we'll give you a 3% tax rebate on anything that you export. And that's going to pretty motivate you to start making stuff. We'll make sure there's low cost of energy. One of the main reasons we're not manufacturing in this country is because the utilities are just so goddamn expensive. So therefore we can't be competitive, even if we could sort out the labour issue.
And then when you look at that comparative to what's the solution between the north-south divide, which is, geographically a couple of 100 miles comparative to China.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. We'll build HS2, which we won't actually, we'll spend hundreds of billions and not get it finished. And then you get to London to Manchester about 20 minutes quicker.
Yeah,
why?
I mean, that is a colossal failure of us, like all that money that's been wasted.
We should be looking at akin to money laundering.
It's the time, all these ministers and government officials spending all that time on it to achieve
nothing.
Yeah, really frustrating.
Very bad. Well, I think the people are voting, aren't they, with their feet? You can see that across the board. Much like customers will go and get a better service elsewhere if you don't provide it for them. We're seeing that in politics.
By the time this podcast comes out, we'll have a new pope.
We will, yeah. Don't think that's quite as...
Have I told you that I worked at the Vatican?
Oh, here we go. Go on, did you? You worked at the Vatican?
Did you do work experience?
Yeah.
What did you do for work experience?
I was a greenkeeper.
What's your...
Yeah, because I worked there at the weekend so I could get paid.
And this is the shirt they gave you?
Yeah, I've still got it now as a mark of respect. What did you do at the Vatican?
Well, no, I was a museum curator.
Were you?
Yeah. I was sent to various museums around the world and shown people around museums.
Yeah, all right.
And I was sent to the Vatican as a museum curator, and I was showing these groups of tourists around, and one of them asked me a question about the Holy Father, the Pope, and I was answering the question, and he walked around the corner. I said, "Oh, speak of the devil." That was smart.
The build-up for it was so strong. Speak of the devil. Are you... Are we doing interesting facts or quotes?
Yes,
We've already had young Ollie. Yeah. Why you sound like Jim Rohn again? Right, it's time for this then.
There we go.
Interesting quote of fact. Interesting quote of fact. Interesting quote of fact. It's time for the interesting quote of fact.
Fact of the week.
Yes, it's interesting quote or fact of the week. What you got? You got a quote or you got a fact?
What are you going with?
I've got a quote.
Yeah, I've got a quote.
I love this.
Go on then, you go first.
The best thing I learned was how to still enjoy my life during my storms. As long as we have life, we will have problems. My entire world can be in chaos and I'll still try and find a reason to smile and laugh. I thought that was very nice. I've started reading a book.
It's more of a memoir, but you just read out there. I've got a short version of that.
Have you?
I mean, you must have heard this one. Laughs about learning to dance in the rain, isn't it? What's that one?
Something like that. Very good. I've started reading a great book that you like called The World's Greatest Salesman. You ever read it?
Oh, well, who's that by?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember. It was recommended by Matthew McConaughey in his book. And I was like, let me read that book. It's unbelievable.
Come on then, JB. What is it called?
The World's Greatest Salesman. And it's basically told as like a parable from sort of biblical times. It's about how a camel boy who attends to the animals becomes the world's greatest salesman using 10 things, which I've defined as scrolls. He has to open the scroll and
Have
read
you
the
read
scroll.
any of it?
I've read the first 5 scrolls.
Okay, what's scroll number 1, 2, 3, or 5?
I can't think what 1 to 4 was, but number 5, which was the last one I read last night, was that I will find the joy each day in my life. Because it's framed as like how you be great at selling, but it's actually how to lead a great life. And then it tells you all of the things, but it's written in like quite a old.
I mean, that's going to be bought by me.
It's going to be. I'm going to get it for you because I like a book as a gift.
Yeah, I'd love you to bring it on the show so that people can see it.
Yeah, I'll get it for
we
you.
actually did that some like things, didn't we?
Like a book club. Do we have a book club?
Or an interesting piece of software. I quite
Oh, yeah,
liked
we
that
did.
section.
Yeah,
we
just jacked in, didn't we?
Yeah. But
We had
those
too many other things.
I've got a couple of quotes here. I don't know if I read this one out on previous one. Did I say when you're in your own lane, there is less traffic?
No.
Well, I saw that somewhere. When you're in your own lane, there is less traffic.
Yes.
I love that.
That is good.
Did I read that out on another one, Chuds?
I don't know. I've heard you say that before. That's good.
But this one, just slam dunk.
Here we go. Slam dunk.
I want to see if we get a good reaction from Chuds here.
Okay.
Then I know I've won the day.
Come on.
Ready for this?
I'm ready.
You're only as strong as your weakest habit. See, look, we got some eyebrows there.
That was very similar, wasn't it? Did someone say this before? You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits.
Oh, that one's really
Same
good
sort
as
of
well.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
No,
very
good
very
though.
similar.
I'm on your team. It's very good.
You're only as strong as your weakest habit.
He's like a skateboarding Chris Williamson, isn't he? What's that? A skateboarding Chris Williamson.
Oh, I just love that. Since we've been doing this show, like now, if I see things, I'm taking pictures of it.
Yeah, I do,
and I have to
yeah.
write it down
Yeah.
because they're just so good. I think people love them, and now I'm getting sent them all the time from people.
But
because
also-
I think people genuinely love this part of the show.
Yeah, I think they do it. But also, I think it's really good because when you're looking, you got what's called the reticular activation system. So you're looking for things like that. You go, oh, that is brilliant. And then it actually subconsciously sticks in your mind somewhere. So all these like little quotes, and they might be like, oh, it sounds like a cool little phrase. But actually, that positivity is sticking in your brain somewhere.
I've got a little question for you before
Here we
bringing
go.
in a guest, and I'll ask both of you. What makes you angry about you? If you could change something about you, what would you change?
Oh, that's a good question. Ironically, what makes me angry is my anger. I've got a very short temper.
Oh, shut up.
I've got a really short temper.
You can't get angry wearing shirts like that.
No, I can. It really irritates me because I have to like.
Mate, I've never seen you angry once.
Yeah, I know, but that's.
You're
have
like
not
the-
been
you're
put
like
in
the Incredible
scenario.
Hulk. You
Yeah,
try really hard
I
to-
get really, really cross. Really cross. Like someone cut me up on the way here today, and he was driving like an absolute knob. And he pulled up at the traffic lights, and it was 50-50 of like, am I going to get out of the car today? And I have to be really like, oh, there you go. I have to be like, whoa, okay, calm myself down. I have to work quite hard to be level.
Well, okay.
Yeah. And that really annoys me.
What makes you angry about you, Chuds?
I don't get angry about myself.
No, but
course
is
it
there
doesn't.
anything that you wish? Do you just think
Yeah, there's got to be. Give me a second.
Anything that you want to improve, anything that would improve.
maybe just bring that microphone up a little bit higher?
Any ways you can improve
Anything I
on
want to
perfection.
improve. Of course there is. My silence isn't me thinking I'm perfect. It's just I need some time to think about it.
It comes
There
across
will
that.
be, 100%. No, I'm not perfect. Not yet.
What I was thinking about that, there's so many things that frustrate me about me. I just...
Like what? Because you said you don't feel like you're firing on optimum levels at the moment. You said that in a previous episode.
I just think, I have to pay sometimes for my... Like, I forget to... at Southend, I've got the parking app. I pay £10 a month, so I've got unlimited parking. But when you park up, you have to put your reg into the app.
Yeah.
3 times a month, I forget to do that, and I get a fine.
What does that annoy you?
I just think, be better. You're a dick.
You're busy. You've got better things cognitively to
No,
spend
but
your
I just
energy on.
think, why am I like that? It's really annoying.
Because you've got so much other stuff on.
Oh, it's not. That's poor, isn't it? I just should be better. Things like that really annoy. And I just have to accept that.
Do you think it's just expectations on yourself? I think that's what it is, rounded up as quite simply. You've got very high expectations of yourself. I mean, that was just like a one-off example of like, oh, you forgot to pay for your parking.
Yeah, but what's annoying there, Jess, I'm not doing it on purpose. There's many times where I park there, I think, no, I'm not paying for the parking today because I haven't got time and I've got to get on the train and I'll get the fine. That is intentional. And that's me doing something.
Yeah.
It's when I do it, I'm quite forgetful. I find it very frustrating.
But everyone's good or bad at some stuff. It's not. It'd be weird if you were great at everything.
Myself.
Yeah, but I don't think you're forgetful. You're
forgetful
overwhelmed.
No, it's not overwhelmed. I don't get overwhelmed.
Not overwhelmed.
Me, overwhelmed.
No, because your brain can only cognitively hold 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information at any given time.
What?
That is like...
Ladies and gents, I'm James Sinclair and Professor Brian Cox joins me today.
The universe is expanding. It's me, Professor Brian Cox. Brian Cox. That's your... that whole multitasking. Women always tell us guys off. Like, you can't multitask. It's not a thing. You can't multitask. You microtask. You nanotask. Your brain can hold 7 plus or 2 minus pieces of information at any given point. Everything else, it goes through a process of deletion, distortion, or one of the other ones I can't forget. I can't remember. So not overwhelmed, like, I'm overwhelmed. But like there's too much cognitive load going through your brain at that point. Your brain literally can't hold it. So the next time, just go, it's okay, I'm just cognitively overloaded.
Well, no, I think, the cost of being me is I have to...
Pay fines.
Yeah.
That's a better way to look at it. You're more accepting of it than, aren't you?
But you've got someone who works for you who can pay the fine. You've got the money to pay the fine. It's not a problem then, is it? It's just fine. The fine is fine.
So actually, the other week, someone commented on my parking.
Here we go.
They said it was really good. And I looked on, there was a little sticker that said fine, parking fine.
You're a genuine idiot. That should be the thing.
Chance, come on, what was your one? Have you got one? Come on, sharing is caring.
What do I want to improve?
He's just too talented, isn't he?
No, it's not that, is it? It's like I'm not.
Take half an inch off it, maybe. Nice problem to have. Lovely problem to have, isn't it? Come back to us later on, John.
Moving on. Let's get our guest on.
Right, let's bring on Adrian. Adrian, are you there, sir?
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Yes.
So I'm muted. Here you are. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Good stuff. Right, sorry for all of the nonsense
Oh, it's
you've had
brilliant.
to listen to.
It's great to hear.
For the last little while. What's the number one thing that you're frustrated with about yourself, Adrian?
Probably my preoccupation with the fragility of life.
Wow, I mean that is strong.
Okay, there we go. I mean,
That's what I was expecting from Chud, something like that. Okay, strong. Sure.
Yeah. No, it's life is fragile and it can preoccupy you sometimes.
Well, blimey. Okay.
what, give some context to what you mean by that.
Well, I suppose if you're exposed to difficulties, issues that people have in a past life, current life, I suppose, I've been a personal trainer, and I get a lot of people tell me their problems. As you probably know, James, you have a personal trainer yourself, don't you?
That's
There we
what
go.
you are. Sorry.
No, he does recycling
No,
now.
that's what I've moved on from. So previously to starting the business we're going to discuss, I was a personal trainer. That's how I got into self-employment, basically.
From picking up weights to picking up rubbish.
Yep.
So, interesting thing, Lemonade. I absolutely get what you mean there.
You can't give people nicknames.
I've been called worse.
Well, fair enough. There you go.
Do you know why that is? Because I was doing Jimbo when I was the partner. Any kids that were
Yeah.
called Aiden, I always used to call them Lemonade. And that's
Yeah,
my
that's all right.
little thing. So you are Lemonade and Aiden
Thank
White.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
No, I absolutely get that because my PT, I have one-to-one time with him, 3 or 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
And you do end up,
Counsellor.
yeah,
Marriage strategist.
100%.
yeah,
100%. Yeah, you get to see the best and worst in people.
yeah.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's not actually that much. I mean, even with your spouse, you don't have complete and utter no distraction 1 hour one-to-one because
No.
you're literally exercising and with that person.
Yeah.
No screens,
No.
Yeah.
no TV on in the background, no music
Yeah.
on in the background, no kids running. I mean, with me and Nat together, there's children around.
Yeah. Stuff is happening.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that was a previous life, Adrian. So let's talk about
Yes.
the current business. So Brackley Recycling, you've been going
Yep.
just under 2 years, doing £2,000 a month, 2 members of staff. Biggest challenge, you said, scaling the business that has potential to grow, but with no external funding. Second biggest challenge, effectively managing time whilst prioritising cash flow. And the third biggest challenge, knowing whether to take on external funding. In 1 year's time, you said that you wanted to have a business turning over 100 grand a year with a team in place and moving to a bigger premises. When the business is finished, you said that you wanted to be fully established in your area with a rock solid management team in place and ready to sell. So why don't you just tell us and the listener and the watcher of this here podcast a little bit about sort of the journey that you got to with Brackley Recycling and tell us where you're at right now, my man.
Okay, so basically I started the business at the beginning of 2022. I've always been involved with computers, working online. I've done freelance web design work before in the past. And I got into a conversation whilst I was doing a bit of that at the end of the pandemic with a client who asked me, do I know where they can get rid of their computers? So I've always wanted to build a business to sell and something more long-term outside of self-employment with personal training. So I did a little bit of research and looked around and found there was no real companies in the local proximity to me who niche down into e-waste recycling. So I threw up a website very quickly and with my own computing knowledge just basically started to get equipment in and refurbish, repair from businesses and resell, and it's expanded from there quite significantly.
Okay, so where are you at? So you're doing £2,000 a month in turnover.
Yeah, I was roughly doing that roundabout when I put the application in. That's grown now more around about 4,000 a month. So yeah, it's growing quite quickly.
So, and what do you do, like e-recycling? So just so you take on old computers, refresh them, refurb them and resell them, or recycle them?
Yeah, break down into component parts and gather up the raw materials and then get that back into the manufacturing stream.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All
and
right.
That's expanded since then as I've then expanded into paper recycling and more data destruction. And so, yeah.
So how much of the turnover is shredding and destruction of
That's
confidential
probably
stuff?
about, I'd say at the moment it's about 50-50 because there's a very close alignment with both parts of the business. So one of my clients I was doing e-waste recycling for had the franchise for shredding in the local area, and when they retired I took that over from them. So I have the franchise for the Oxfordshire and Banbury area, and there's a natural synergy between the two things. So I now cross-refer from one side of the business to the other, and it's just, as I say, getting really out of hand now. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
biggest challenge, scaling the business with no external funding. Tell us a bit more about the challenge of that. So we've got some context to the content.
Yeah. It's quite an expensive game. There's quite a high barrier to entry in the industry. It's a lot of regulation. There's a lot of standards required, management standards, and the obviously tools, equipment, premises, staffing. It all gets very expensive very quickly. So it's trying to grow that. I'm reinvesting all profits at the moment back into the business.
What sort of money are we looking at?
Well, I mean, it depends on how big and how quickly you want to do it. You do need people. That's the position I've got to now. But it can be quite significant in terms of ISO standards straight away. They open the door to larger contracts. You've got ATF, authorized treatment facility standards. So as you go big,
let me ask you.
Yeah.
Can you get the work?
Oh, my big problem is I'm very good at getting things. My problem is obviously the processing thereof.
So how much money do you need? If you know you can get the work, what's the sort of money you need?
I reckon, well, I'm trying to do it organically. I don't want to take on too much debt in the business, but it's that sort of compromise between taking on the debt and expanding quickly. I moved into a larger premises as soon as I possibly could before I could afford it, to give me capacity. But I reckon about 50,000 probably would get me to £100,000 business very quickly, and then I can scale up to £1 million.
And
I reckon.
Absolutely sure that if you had the 50 grand, you could get enough business to pay that loan off over a number of years.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I've done all the figures. So I've scaled it out to work out roughly what the amount of income, the amount of tonnage you need to work through, the amount of processing. I was a bit skeptical in the initial days because there's you don't know quite what you're going to get. I get items given to me, so I don't pay for anything. And then I charge businesses for things like hard drive destruction, hard drive processing, where there's costs involved. But the processing of the materials is the thing that takes time.
So just talk me through this so everyone understands. So a company says we've got a load of old computers we need to get rid of.
Yep.
And then they get you to, so you just collect them.
I do.
And then you get rid of them. So why do you need 50 grand?
Well, again, it's about material handling, and then processing of so the overhead is obviously with the people that actually process the items, for either refurbishment or recycling, and then you've got the tools required, which isn't a massive overhead.
So is the 50,000 for cash flow or for equipment?
It would be for equipment and for overhead on people initially, because obviously employing people, you've got to get enough materials in to actually to pay the staff, to increase in bills, increase in electricity costs, etc. So
but you'll be paid before you pay all that out, won't you?
Depends whether it's the refurbishment side of it, can generate quite a lot of cash flow, but it depends on the products you're actually receiving. So I've tried to build up a backlog of tonnage, basically, to give myself a bit of leeway to be able to then afford it, to be able to afford to employ people. And actually next month I'm going to take on my first hire. So yeah, I've been relying on help and admin.
So you don't really, it's not like you need to go and buy a big lorry, or you just want running money.
Potentially, but I want to expand and start out with an electric van. So I currently use a van I've got myself, what I was using for personal training, because I used to be a mobile PT. So I've used that, and that I'm rapidly getting very tired. So I want to go into, so I'm actually partnered with a local van hire company, electric van hire company, because vans are an expensive thing to purchase outright. So leasing a van would be the right option, but electric leases are very expensive in themselves for a monthly cost.
Well, don't get an electric van then for the first year.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's been a difficult issue to resolve for myself, because obviously in a recycling industry you want to be as net zero as you possibly can.
Yeah, but you just can't do that for the first year.
No, I haven't for the first 2 years. I'm into my third year now.
For the next year until you're bringing in you know, all the money that you need to bring in. I get what you're saying, but I think it sounds like you can just do this.
I know.
Because I think I don't really think you do need to borrow the money. I think you'll have an awkward couple of months and it might feel uncomfortable. But if you know you can get the work and you know you can get the cash flow, you know you can get the sales, that's usually most people's problems. If you think that isn't the problem, just go, in my opinion.
Yeah. My viewpoint has changed since I put the application in because I've got more confidence in the business now. I'm a bit further along. I'm starting to really refine and make processes more efficient. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm seeing real potential in the industry, without a doubt.
Now the other thing is just if you start getting good contracts and regular customers, you know, invoice financing where banks give you 80% of what the invoice is or 85% of the invoice is much cheaper now. I mean, I had some prices and some quotes for me in my businesses. It's like bank loan money. It's much cheaper. That used to be very expensive. It used to be called factoring or invoice discounting. So that's a really quick way of funding your business, and there's all the high street banks do it.
Okay, that's worth it, because it's certainly since I took on the shredding side of things, that's a part of the business which I was a bit of an unknown, because paper shredding wasn't something which I'd really been involved in before. So I took on the franchise, and that's starting to grow quite a lot. So yeah, that's more regular income, fast pounds. So yeah, that's something I could look at. Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, let's look at the second challenge then. So effectively managing my time whilst prioritising cash flow. Give us a bit more behind that, mate.
I'm doing everything, basically. It's typical, involved in every aspect of the business. So I need to make sure that I'm still getting those sort of income generating tasks done whilst also managing the amount of items that are coming in at the same time. So yeah, managing time is getting those tasks away from myself. That's hence the reason I know I need to build a team. So it's getting to the point where I can hire those people to take those tasks away from me, so I can focus on the items coming in to get to the sort of levels that I need to get to.
Your hire that you mentioned, what's that person coming in to do next month?
Basically admin first. So I need to get all of the admin tasks off my desk. Because it's becoming overwhelming. So yeah, shutting my email box out so I don't get too distracted by shiny objects. Just basically, just getting those admin tasks away from me so I can then focus on going out and getting new business.
Good stuff. Good. Third big challenge, and you said knowing whether to take on external funding. I think we've touched on that a little bit, but
I mean that was where I thought I needed to be. So I appreciate what James is saying. It's something which is just
for clarity, I don't understand enough about your business, and it's going to be very difficult in a 30-40 minute conversation. But that most people are not as confident as you in saying that you can get the work, and you said, oh no, that's not the issue. We can go and get the work, and the funding, you know, once you're producing management accounts, you can borrow some money very easily if you needed to buy equipment and stuff.
Sure.
Right, let's jump on to the questions that you wanted to ask Jimbo then, because that might unravel a few more things in a positive way. So the question you said, what strategies do you think will be most effective for scaling operations and managing growth in a niche market like e-waste and recycling?
Well, I mean, all the usuals.
Good old-fashioned go and get more customers, isn't it?
Go and get customers, pick up the phone, write a list down of your 100 people that you know that need your services and work out how you get in front of them. I think then some paid for advertising with someone that really knows what they're doing to get you maximum results on that, a good agency. But you've got to be the business development manager. But I don't think that is the issue, because you very confidently said that you can get loads of work.
Yeah, it's I've noticed that the more people I speak to, I did a lot of. I'm very involved with the digital world. I grew up with social media and internet and websites and advertising is something I know a lot about, but it's not something I've not needed to do it, which is very fortunate. I started back out with the traditional type of marketing, going out knocking on doors, speaking to people, networking events, etc. And I'm managing every time I get in front of a business owner, I can get items, and it's opening a lot of doors. But that's kind of snowballing at the moment. So yeah.
Well, I mean, good news. I mean, waste businesses, if you can build them up, they're highly desirable for investors to buy.
I've heard you say it.
I mean, I know a big M&A firm, Grant Thornton, love selling waste businesses. You know, so definitely, keep going on that.
Yeah, it's something. I know it's a crowded marketplace. I'm by no means unique. There's loads and loads of firms out there doing this sort of thing.
Well, it's
but I'm very
because
lucky.
everyone wants it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the local area, it's underutilized niche, I think, and I'm managing to get a lot of items in, which is good.
Good. Next question.
Question 2: how would you maintain strong client relationships?
Talk to them. Keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
Remind them that you're there. I think most businesses are not good at checking in with their regular top customers. I'm trying to think about a national company that do it very well. I suppose Disney do it very well via content.
2 does it brilliantly. Bloody Domino's Pizza.
Domino's Pizza.
Every Tuesday. It's 2 for Tuesday.
Yeah, they do it. They do
I don't even remember giving you my number, but you send me a text message and my wife gets the same one at the same time.
But that is a good thing about content marketing. If you're a content machine, you are naturally creating relationships with your customers, aren't you? So that's why I'm saying Disney, I don't know, like Marks and Spencer's sponsoring lots of cooking shows now.
Yeah.
They're
Nudge
actually
and
making
remind
them.
marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, they're making the cooking shows. They're producing it for ITV. And so it's an M&S production for ITV or something like that. Yeah, so they're creating forceful ways to. I suppose apps are good at that. I mean, John Lewis app is really good, and it reminds their customers that this is what we've got in store this week. But most companies are poor at it.
Okay. I obviously have businesses which I see either frequently or infrequently. So yeah, it's trying.
I mean, it's like a fitness, a PT is like one of the best, isn't it? You become ultra sticky to your personal trainer because you're seeing them one-to-one so often.
Yeah, that's been a great. I've actually had the opportunity to speak to a lot of different diverse business owners through PT, which has been really, really fortunate. I've got a lot of what I call them non-executive directors, because I basically spent a lot of time with them, and they just give me business advice as well. Which is really handy. Yeah, it's been really handy.
There you go. No one at all.
Oh yeah.
Final question then that we had was: how do you have any external hobbies outside of business, and how important do you find them?
I like cooking.
Me too.
I like magic still and entertainment. Like watching live entertainment comedy stuff.
Do you?
Okay. I mean, my wife try and see a comedian once a year. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean anything, because that's what the industry that I was in. But no, my work is my hobby. Unfortunately,
Me too.
Yeah.
But do you find that it's important that you keep them up to sort of balance that? Do you find it a useful distraction?
Fitness, weirdly, is not a hobby because you hate it, but it's something that you consistently do. So it's a hobby you dislike, which is really bizarre.
I'm only doing it because it's not a hobby, is it? I'm doing it because I feel I need to.
Interesting.
I wonder if that.
I get anxiety if I don't do it.
There you go. So that gives you a break from thinking. That's probably one of the only of the 4 hours of exercise you do per week with your PT. Those are probably the 4 hours where you're thinking the least about business when you're consciously awake.
Yeah, I force myself to do hobbies and activities to try and balance that, to make sure, because I realise it's something that's there's a lot of top athletes who try to make sure that they work out and recover as an equal amount. So
that's why all the top footballers play golf, because it's nice cardio, recovery, and takes their mind off stuff and gets them outside, isn't it?
And they sleep for 2 hours in the middle of the day as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Growth hormone and all that. So I find external hobbies just really useful to try and balance that, so I don't get too stuck in your own head with business or stuck in loops.
No, absolutely. Well, Adrian, if there is anyone in the Brackley or surrounding area, where is Brackley? Northampton?
Well, we're right outside Silverstone Race Circuit. So we're the home of, we got the home of Mercedes, the Formula One team. So I do a lot of work with a lot of motorsport companies and related industry. So
there's loads of like
yeah.
sort of super high-end industrial estates popping up, like old school brochure, nice looking brochure, and knocking on doors in those places. I bet that would get you loads of clients.
I managed to get on the Silverstone business newsletter, which was very helpful for a friend of mine. So yeah, just building relationships along those lines. The motorsport corridor, as they call it.
That's right, yeah. Well, anyway, if there is anyone around that neck of the woods and they need their recycling, whether it be e-waste or their paper shredded and their data sensitive stuff, where can they go for more information, mate?
www.brackleyrecycling.co.uk.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you very much for being on the pod. We appreciate it massively, and we wish you well on your entrepreneurial ventures.
Thank you.
Super duper trooper. Thanks for being
Cheers,
on.
Adrian.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Ed.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Super duper trooper. Is that what you're going with now?
Maybe.
Sounds like an ABBA song.
I think there's another knock on the door, isn't
You're
it?
joking. It is. You're right. It's time for James Sinclair's 8 Traits of the Greats. It's the point of the show where award-winning entrepreneur James Sinclair rates the entrepreneurial guests that we've had on the show, and he decides how great are they out of 8. 8 Traits of the Greats. Right, you ready, Jimbo?
Yeah, starting with the end in mind. What are we giving him?
I don't think we can give that one.
0.
No.
Passionate about their cause.
Oh, he loves that recycling. Are you mad?
Untold amounts of resilience.
Again, we didn't really find out, did we?
No. The master relationships with people.
Can't be a PT and not.
Commercial awareness.
I didn't get a great sense of that.
They innovate so don't evaporate. Yeah, I think it's quite innovating. And this, yeah. Master marketeer.
No, I don't think you can have that.
Well, he said he was, didn't he?
I've had a look at the website.
Okay. They stay teachable and curious. We're giving him that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a 4.
It's a 4.
It's time for the big song with JB, because I can't sing.
And the chance, it's not a 1. Entrepreneurial journey's done, it's not a 2. Because there's not so much work to do, it's not a 3. No, I can't, I need to.
It's a 4.
Right, it's an alliteration nightmare, Chuds. You are absolutely right.
It's a 4. A few tweaks and they can have much more.
That one works fine.
I've wrote a song about you.
Here we go.
Do you want to hear it?
Not really.
It's called the James Burt Official Song.
Here we go.
Ready? I can't do it to that. It doesn't work.
Come on then.
This is the James Burt Official Song. It won't take long.
Is that it? Time well spent. Right, there's another knock at the door. It's time for the business quiz.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Thanks, Chuds. By the way, Chuds, cup of tea earlier, unbelievable.
Yeah, that was good.
Unbelievable, wasn't it? Oof.
Because he's from up north. They know how to make a brew up there.
Right, good cup of tea that were. Right, inside this envelope here is a quizzical question about the sector or the business that we've just talked about, and me and James Sinclair, the UK's leading entrepreneur, we'll go head-to-head in a battle of the wits and the charms. 28 million tonnes of household waste was generated in the UK in 2024. What percentage of that was recycled?
Go on, just what's even more interesting about that? Did you say 28 million tonnes?
Yeah, that doesn't seem that much, does it?
Well, no. Each human being then, roughly, in the UK is generating 0.5 ton of waste a year.
That's about right, though, isn't it? That's scary as well at the same time, isn't it? There's 27 million households, so if you worked out household waste, it's just over a ton per house.
A year.
But then you think about it, I can easily see that. The amount of like shampoo and soap bottles and packaging, like Christmas time and Easter. Like when did that become like the second Christmas? This year we had like Nanny and Grandad turned up and there was flipping hats and there was bags and there was a thing around the garden and there was bags and there was bunny rabbits and there was like stuff in wrapping paper. I'm like, what's going on here? We just need 1 chocolate egg, surely.
Okay, well look, let's do the question, Chance. Sorry, JB.
Fine.
What percentage of that
percentage?
28 million tonnes was recycled?
I'll go for that. I know what Bromley Council always say. Aren't we clever? Look how much we recycled. So they talk in Bromley. 28 million tonnes of household waste was generated in the UK in 2024. What percentage of that was recycled?
I'm going 60%. What do you say?
60%?
Yeah.
I'm going 31%. Do you know the answer to this one, Chuds? You can have a guess then, mate, if you want.
What did you say?
I said 31. He said 60. I would go in the middle if I was you.
45.
There you go. Great way to play the game,
Well,
Chuds.
no, can I just say where my thesis is?
Here he goes,
Because we've all got
preemptively.
100 bins at home.
Have you?
Yeah, and all different colour bins and stuff.
Do you know what any of those bins are for? Do you put the bins out?
No,
I didn't think you did.
I pay for the bin to be sorted. I have a commercial bin at home.
Oh, of course you do. You've got like a Euro biffer bin thing, haven't you?
Yeah, and then they sort it all out for you. Because that's one of my problems in life. I can't work out if the purple bin is on a Tuesday and then every other third,
that's too
the
much.
third Wednesday of the month.
So you just lob it all in. The lot.
And then they sort it all out and recycle it and put it. They've got all the machines. Lovely.
Well, there you go.
Best £30 a month for saving ever.
Tell you what, I had a skip the other day. The amount of stuff you can get a skip. I was having to
It's very expensive. How much was your skip?
£438 plus VAT.
That's a lot of money.
That is a
isn't it?
lot of dough. For 8 foot and like a 7 foot side thing. I had great fun in it. I was climbing in and out of it. Oh, it was great. Are you ready? So what do you say? I said 31.
Chuds, what was Chuds' one?
45. He's a joker. The answer is 46%. Waste breakdown. Oh, hang on. What did you say? You said 60. I said 31. Also, we're banging the even. We've never drawn before. Last episode, we teamed up, and now there's something about we've got a bond today. Me and you, Sinclair. The answer is 46%.
My first guess was 55%. I should have stayed with it. Look, I've even wrote it down.
I hate playing this game with you. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You
55,
scribbled it
and then
out.
cross out.
There's also loads of. What are these stars? Are you like? Have you written MBE for yourself?
No, this here is a pattern. This is a pattern, ladies and gents, that I'm designing for his next shirt.
You're an idiot. Right, the answer is 4. Is that what it actually was? You're such an idiot. I'll tell you what, come summertime, when I'm on a cutting front, I'm coming with no top on, I'm going to be ripped to bits, and you can shut your noise. Right, the answer is 46%. The breakdown of that waste is 22% goes to landfill. Incineration with energy recovery is 25% and composting is 3%. Nobody cares. The average waste generated per
Does your
person.
wife ever sleep with you?
Yeah, very, very infrequently, though. I think we know why. The average waste generated per person is 1.3 tonnes a year.
Wow.
And there was 215 million tonnes of waste generated in the UK.
There we go.
Hang on, what was the question then?
They was talking about household waste.
Household, right, yeah, that was total waste, right, fine. Okay, there you go, 46% anyway. You enjoyed that at home? Good, there you go.
Good.
Right, thank you for listening to this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you do like this podcast, leave us a 5-star review if you download your podcast. Leave us a comment or give us one of them subscribery thumbs-uppy things on YouTube.
Yes, and if you would like to come to Business Masterclass, it's a big 2-day event in London to help grow your business. You can buy your tickets at jamessinclair.net. This is going to be an outstanding event. We've got lots of surprises as well.
You're doing Bash the Bankers.
We've got some big... We've got some banks coming along on a virtual, not virtual because it's in real, but they're actually going to do
a funding panel.
We're doing a funding panel.
Bash the Bankers.
You've got an idea about funding for your business, and you want to ask bankers from some of the big banks that they're going to be live on stage. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be great if you want to get customers, buy companies, raise money, commercial property, getting more profit out of your business, and everything in between. That's what Business Masterclass is, live in London this September. Tickets and details are on my website, jamessinclair.net.
You're going to do more stuff on buy businesses because that is the hot topic at the moment, isn't it? I know you cover it anyway. Yeah, I think so.
Well, we're running our Buying Businesses event on the 25th of November.
You cover a bit of it in...
Yeah, we definitely cover a bit of it in Business Masterclass. Yeah, people want to buy businesses. Well, have you seen it elsewhere on the internet?
Loads.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is as good as us on it because no one's doing it as much as me.
No, that's it.
It's a bit egocentric.
No, but I agree with that. But there's lots of people who are doing courses like, this is how I grew a business. Like, are you though? Are you though, really?
There you go.
Anyway, there you go.
You know what's close to my heart right now?
What?
My left lung.
Bye, everybody.
See you later. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.